Okay, so this morning we heard from Kenneth, speaking directly to developers, kind of asking them face-to-face, what do you need from a program? We heard from Mark, talking about once you understand the developer community, what are some things that you can do and some rules that you can follow for going out and attracting developers and bringing them in. But at the end of the day, you've got to have some tools in place to be able to accomplish those tasks and to meet the needs of the developer. So that's what I'm going to talk to you about today. Really, this is kind of lessons learned from 10 years. I think the first developer program that I participated in the web technology side was about 10 years ago, and we've built many programs since then. And there's a lot of common factors that I can see now looking back that are common to basically every developer program from a technology point of view. Especially when we're talking about the web presence. So first thing I'm going to talk about is what I call the baseline. How is a developer program portal different from my existing website? One of the things that you're going to run into when you're trying to set up a developer program is you're going to go to your corporate IT and they're going to say, we already have a website. Use what we have. And I'm going to give you some, I think, some good reasons why that may or may not work. So we're going to talk about the differences between your existing website, potentially, and what a portal is. And then I'm going to go into 4 additional portal strategies that can really help make your developer program more effective. These are things that I think you really need to be doing now to reach maximum potential with a developer program on the web. So the first thing, what's a portal and what's a website? The key features of a portal are authentication, specialization, and customization. Most of the time, when you talk about a website, what you're talking about is something that's generally open to the public, has a lot of general information, and all the content's there for every visitor. When you're talking about a portal, you're talking about giving people the ability to register. You're talking about segmenting those groups of users, providing them with specialized content, and customizing their experience. So number one, you need to be able to accomplish those 3 things: authentication, specialization, and customization. Bottom line, your developer program portal is a gateway to a larger service. It's not just a website, it's the public face of your overall program. So first, to be able to do the authentication piece, you've got to have a registration process. I would say 25% of the projects that I've been involved with over the last 10 years have been registration focused. And there's a reason for that. Asking for just the right amount of information without asking for too much and turning people off is really difficult. Finding that fine line takes some practice. And your registration process has to be flexible but focused. And most likely it's going to change over time as your market changes and the type of users you're trying to attract change. But I've sat in a lot of sessions with that big group of people that Kenneth talked about. You got the IT guys there, you got the marketing people there, you got the product development people there, and you ask everybody what they want, and the registration process comes out to 574 questions to get somebody on board. And I can tell you right now, that's not the answer. You've got to find a way to hone that list down to what's important, and then operate on a quid pro quo basis. When you're delivering value to the developer, when they need something from you, you have a chance to ask them for some more information and build up that profile over time. One of the mistakes you can make when you think about running a developer program is thinking too much about it being individuals. Creating an application is a cross-functional process. You've got to have designers, you've got to have developers, you've got to have marketing people, there's going to be some finance people involved. It's a team. It's a company. So you need to have relationships with the companies involved in your program as well as the individuals. And you need to be able to have a system that allows you to keep track of the users and the companies and their relationships to each other. And then on top of that, you have to have a security model and some role-based decision-making power to be able to treat the highest value partners and companies in your program a little bit differently than maybe the mass base of lowest level of membership. One of the biggest values you can get from a developer program is to bring people on board onto your products before they are released to the marketplace. But to be able to do that, you've got to have a secure NDA contract relationship with those people. You've got to be confident that you can share roadmap and beta information with them. They can provide you feedback, and that process can be managed in a way that scales. Clearly, no portal is complete without a comprehensive search functionality. But the trick here is not just to provide search functionality, but search functionality that actually respects the security model that you have in place. So again, the trick is trying to be able to allow people to search for what they're looking for, but help them find the things they're supposed to have access to. And then dovetailing with what Mark had to say, you got to have a set of community tools in place. Definitely want to be able to leverage the community you build in many ways. You want to give them the opportunity to help each other. Takes the burden off of you. You want to have the ability to communicate with them yourself, get your message out there, control the message. So community tools are really critical. Just as critical is the important piece of the puzzle called content. The number one thing that I talk to new clients about when they're starting a developer program and they want to build a portal is get started on your content yesterday. Because we're going to have the web infrastructure done before you have the content ready. And to date, I've never been wrong about that. It's really, really difficult to get the content together that you need to run an effective developer program. It exists in your organization. People have it, but getting it into a format, keeping it maintained on the web is really, really difficult. I always talk about shortening the pipeline between the people in your organization who have the information and their ability to put that onto the web, onto your portal. The shorter that pipeline, the more compact that process, the better the tools, the better your portal will be. And you will gain traction in the marketplace if your content is fresh and up to date. It's not easy to do, but it's critical to do. And the last piece of the puzzle that we all need is the secondary tools that you need to be able to accomplish the tasks that Mark talked about earlier this morning. And we heard developed directly from the developers that they require. So you have to have a way to communicate with them through campaigns. You got to be able to do analytics, do reporting, so you know what people are doing, so you know what people are not finding. You got to be able to provide them with support, and you got to be able to provide them with a method for distribution and payment. Distribution can mean a lot of things. In the case of Navtech, one of the things that we've built for them is their app warehouse. That is not a direct-to-consumer play, but they've got the distribution mechanism they can offer to the developer community. In other cases, it may make sense to put a marketplace in place that goes direct to consumer, but it really depends on the focus of your developer program, who you're trying to attract, and what kind of applications they're building. So that's the baseline. Probably what you expect, but it's a complex picture. On top of that, I think there are 4, maybe less obvious portal strategies that you really need to be pursuing as a part of any developer program technology offering. Number 1, simplify the universe of choices by creating recipes for success. What do I mean by that? Well, being in a place like this, GSMA, Mobile World Congress, it's not hard to see that you can get overwhelmed if you're trying to figure out how to go from point A to point B. When you want to develop an application, what platform do I pick? What OS do I pick? Does it matter what network I pick? What is the ecosystem surrounding the set of products and services that I'm targeting? You can provide value by helping a developer navigate that sea of choices. How do you do that? Well, the first thing you have to do is you have to do some general education on new technologies and best practices. Just setting it on the shelf and hoping is not enough. One of the things that organizations tend to do is spend a lot of time on product development, and then you go to a web page and you put up a specs, and there it is. That is not helping the developer make an informed choice about what you intend that product to be used for, what ways it can be used. People follow patterns, and if you want to establish a new pattern, you've got to give people some clues as to what that new pattern might be. The next thing I'm going to show you is a little video we put together for Sprint, one of our customers, about an old technology, SMS, but a new way that they want people to start using it with machine-to-machine technologies.
SMS is the easiest way to deliver commands of 160 characters or less to an application on an M2M or embedded device. In this case, we look at how a medical monitoring device can be used with SMS. A medical monitoring server sends a command to wake up a remote device via SMS. The Sprint network relays the message to the remote medical device. The medical device wakes up and initiates a test. Upon completion of the test, the remote device sends the diagnostic information back to the medical monitoring server. Uses for SMS with non-handset devices include application wake-up, remote monitoring, remote diagnostics, and many more.
So with that type of collateral on the website, on the portal, Sprint's accomplishing a lot of functions at once. They're taking an old technology, SMS, and they're pitching it as something that you can use to accomplish relevant problems and an emerging vertical market, healthcare. Really, a big important part of their growth strategy is to go after these new vertical markets. And by taking technologies that they've had in the marketplace and explaining new ways that they can be used, they open up the developers' eyes about ways you can get things done with technologies that are already out there. But talking about single technologies is actually the strength of most organizations. You know, most organizations are set up around you've got a product manager and I manage my product. Where most people fall down the stairs is talking about the overall technology ecosystem. This is what I was talking to you about earlier, creating recipes for success. You know, not talking about products in isolation, talking about how products can be used together. Talk about how your products and services fit together to create a total solution. The next slide, I have a video we put together for Sprint again, talking about how several of their network APIs can be used in conjunction with each other to create a business case.
A compelling business solution for dispatch and delivery management can be created using a combination of the Sprint Services APIs for presence, LBS, and geofencing. Using this solution, the dispatch operator can track all trucks to make sure that they are on the correct route and where they are in their delivery route. The presence service indicates to the dispatcher which trucks are available and those that are out of service. In this example, the trucks marked with a red dot are currently in service, and the unmarked truck is out of service. The LBS service gives the dispatcher the ability to get latitude and longitude for each truck in a number of ways, including on a web page or on a handheld device. The LBS service also allows the operator to match the truck's current location against an established delivery route. In this case, the truck following the yellow arrows is on the correct route, while the truck following the red arrows is off track and would need to be rerouted by the dispatcher. The geofence service can be used to set a 2-mile radius around each grocery store. When a truck enters the geofence of a grocery store, an SMS message is sent to the grocery store delivery manager. The SMS informs the manager that a truck is approaching, allowing him to have an unloading crew ready. When the truck gets to the grocery store, the crew is ready to unload, saving the business money by having truck delivery time optimized and unloading crew time minimized.
So what we did there is we put together a business case for several Sprint APIs working in conjunction with each other. It's actually based on a real use case. It's out in the marketplace. Put it on the website. Give people the ability who are interested in those products and services to watch that and get some ideas about how they may be able to use the same technologies together and provide them with a recipe for success. But how do you really do that when you have a lot of products and technologies? Well, your portal has to have the ability to give people the right combination of information at the right time. One way you can do this is allowing users to self-profile. So in this case, we've got a user coming in, and they may be, at any point in this process, they may be just getting started. They may just need development tools, or they need support on something they've already done. Maybe they're testing, or they're ready to go to market. And then maybe they're using one of a particular set of products that you offer, Android tablets, whatever it is. Having that information gives you the ability to serve them the right content at the right time in the right combination. But what that really boils down to is a metadata and tagging model built into your portal infrastructure that allows you to act on that information. So you can collect the information about what they're interested in, but if you can't act on it, if you can't serve them the content, then it's a no-go. So having a metadata and tagging model in place allows you to accomplish things like this. On the left, we have a web page there that's got a mix of business content, general content about a product or service, and technical content. If we have metadata in place on our content blobs in our content system, and the user self-profiles, and they tell me, I'm a technical user, I want technical information about these two products, then we can transform the web page, the view of the content, the web portal view for that user, and screen the information out that they're not interested in while giving them the information that they are interested in. The second of the 4 additional portal strategies I think you have to be pursuing at this point is being obsessive about search engine optimization. Now, everybody talks about SEO, but there's some significant barriers to making SEO really happen in the context of a complex portal system. The bottom line is, even if you get people to sign up for your program, and they're members of your program, they're not going to come back to your portal to search for their problem, the answer to their problem first. The first thing they're going to do is they're going to go to Google and type in their problem. They're not going to come to your site and search on your site using the search tools you've put in place. They're going to go to Google first. So, you're spending a lot of time putting content on your website and putting stuff into your knowledge base and putting stuff into your FAQ system, and if it's not SEO optimized, no one's ever going to find it. So what does that mean? Most database-driven tools, most content systems, most FAQ systems that are out there that are older architecture systems are not SEO optimized. The content's really designed to be searched directly on your site or on your portal. It's compartmentalized between forums and a forum system and an FAQ system. The URLs are not natural language, so you've got an FAQ system and the URL is like FAQ equals 19645. That's the ID of the FAQ. That's not an SEO optimized URL. And even if it is, SEO tactics require extra work on the part of the content authors who, generally speaking, are overwhelmed anyway. So what do? You've got to be on top of SEO, and it has to be a primary part of your content plan and of your portal architecture design. So you've got to have tools, content tools, FAQ systems, knowledge bases that allow for natural language URLs with dash separators, that allow for full content control over page titling, that have a systematic metadata model for tagging, and do automated sitemap updates to Google so that when people go to Google, they find your content and not someone else's. So I'm going to add SEO tools being built into the portal architecture baseline. The picture is getting messy. The third strategy that I'm going to talk about is becoming a matchmaker. Making a great app requires a team. Most developers are not great graphic designers. I think we all know that. Graphic designers are usually not very good programmers. If you find one, let me know. But putting an app together requires a team. You've got to have level designers. You might have to have specialized software, marketing tools, profile management, whatever it is. And when we talk to developers and you ask them the question, how do you find the people you need to pull together your app, they really don't have a handy answer for this. So one of the services that you can provide through your developer program is a matchmaking service, a classified system, a partner directory, a B2B play that allows people to find other people who are interested in building the same types of applications and who maybe have complementary skill sets or services to offer to each other. So I'm going to add matchmaking tools into the portal, what I'm calling the baseline plus. And then the last strategy that I think we need to talk about is mobile optimization. Don't pretend that optimizing your portal for mobile devices is optional anymore. The developer community are early adopters. They're going to have tablets, they're going to have non-standard devices, they're going to have smartphones, and a lot of your marketing efforts, if they're email-based or text-based or whatever kind of campaigns you're sending out, are going to reach people in highly mobile situations where you're asking them to interact with your portal. Please sign up for our event. Please download our white paper. Look at this new movie that we just published about some successes that we've had in the marketplace. If that experience, when you reach that developer and you get them to act on that marketing message, is not mobile optimized, that doesn't look good, and you're probably not getting most of the benefit that you could get out of your marketing effort. So you really need to think about key site features being mobile optimized at a minimum, if not the entire infrastructure. So I'm going to add in a mobile optimization layer here. So just to sum up, when you look at the big picture, there's a lot of components in there. A lot of different modules that you have to think about, content strategies you have to think about, SEO strategies you have to think about. And that is why your website tools that you have today are probably not what you need to run an effective developer portal. If you have all that, great. But generally speaking, there's at least got to be some tweaks. You need a baseline system that's highly flexible. It's got to be secure, and it's got to be content driven. And you got to be able to give the right content to the right people at the right time. It's a highly technical audience, and they need to have that content segmented by role, and you need to be able to give the highest value content to the highest value partners. Realistically, the competition for the best developers is fierce. And that last set of 4 optional strategies that I presented really aren't optional anymore. If you're going to have success in this market, run a highly successful developer program, you've got to do everything that I talked about and more to be able to reach your audience and serve their needs. That's it. Thanks.
Any questions from the audience? I think we've got some mics somewhere around here. We do have a question right here. Thank you. Mic's coming right to you. Just wait 1 second, please.
You mentioned on some of the things that companies are doing now on the distribution side.
Yes.
I was wondering if you could talk a little bit more about that, especially for, I think he had mentioned, some of the younger developers that are coming up. I just wanted to hear about some of your thoughts, other than like app stores and, some of the more normal things. What other ways are there bigger companies getting involved in distribution?
We have 2 sessions this afternoon that talk really specifically about that in some detail. But generally speaking, I'll talk about it, some of the things that we're doing with our customers. So I think Kenneth and Mark also mentioned, and it came up in the panel this morning, it's really hard to get recognized when all of the apps are flowing into giant app stores that have hundreds of thousands of applications in them. So one of the things that's happening in the industry right now is people are starting to set up more niche-focused catalogs. And some of the catalogs that we're helping to build right now are enterprise-focused. So you've got an audience inside corporations where they need to be able to have their enterprise employees have access to applications, but the enterprise has the interest in knowing what those applications are and providing the right ones. So there's a certain segmentation within the catalog space. You've got enterprise catalogs going in, and I think there's more catalogs. Navtech has built a catalog based around LBS, around location-based services, around mapping, around their core competency. So I think one of the things that you're going to see is there's going to be a lot more niche-focused catalogs and app stores to specific markets where people know to go to find applications for those specific topics rather than being lumped into one giant app store.
Do we have any other questions for Adam?
I'll be around all day, so if you want to talk at lunch or whatever, thanks.
Great. Thank you, Adam.